I'm Chris, you're watching FRAG-MENTAL. I've done the designer version of this video, now it's time to talk about niche. So here are my top 3 fragrances from my top 3 brands. Stay tuned. If you're a regular viewer of my channel, you will have a pretty good idea of the brands I'm about to talk about and the fragrances I'm going to talk about as well, so there won't be any big shocks here, so don't expect anything left field. These are fragrances I talk about a lot on my channel. They are often cropping up in a lot of the list videos that I do. So let's get into it. The first house I'm going to talk about, now this was a tough one to decide. There were 2 houses that I really struggled to decide between. They are Nasomatto and Creed. I love both these houses. I love the creativity of Nasomatto. I love how classy Creed fragrances are. Pardon and Viking are 2 of my all-time favorite fragrances. But in the end, I went with a house that I think is more versatile, so I do end up wearing these fragrances more often. The first fragrance I'm talking about is from Creed. It's Aventus. Aventus is an excellent fragrance. Every time I put this on, I always enjoy it, but I'm going to be honest with you here, and I just got a little bit tired of Aventus, all the Aventus talk, all the Aventus clones. Everywhere you turn there was talk of Aventus or a version of it. So I think because I tired of it, it veered me into the direction of other Creed fragrances. But this is a great fragrance. Every time I wear it, it gets positive attention. It's still a very modern smelling, on-trend fragrance. So, you know, credit where credit's due. It is a great scent. And when I do wear this, I always think, you know, maybe I should wear this more because I do really enjoy it. So coming in at number 3 from the house of Creed, Aventus. The second fragrance from Creed is a beauty that is just a little bit above Aventus because I just tend to wear it more. This one is old school, but still cool. Bois de Portugal. Okay, so this one isn't as modern smelling or as on trend as the Aventus DNA. It has this classical, timeless appeal, but to me it doesn't smell dated. I will say perhaps it leans a little more mature than Aventus. I don't think this is really a fragrance for someone who wants to smell very youthful. Someone who wants to smell gentlemanly and well put together, yes, absolutely. But fun, vibrant and youthful, maybe this isn't the right type of scent. So citrus, woods and lavender give this beautiful aromatic profile. It just smells so refined to me. I could wear this pretty much any time, but the perfect time for me to wear this is when I'm at a formal occasion, I'm dressed up and I want to smell refined, sophisticated, gentlemanly with that classic cologne style. The Creed fragrance I've chosen as my number 1 just really vibes with me. It has that clean, classic cologne style appeal, but also smells very modern as well. But mainly, I just like this because I adore smelling it on myself. It's Viking. Viking smells clean and fresh, but it's also got some attitude and some punchiness due to the citrus, the woods and the pepper. So these real punchy, zingy notes are supported really nicely with a bit of rose and some smooth sandalwood. I love the depth that this fragrance has. It's definitely not a fleeting type of fresh fragrance. It certainly hangs around on my skin. It doesn't smell clean in a generic shower gel type of way. This definitely smells quite unique and refined and sophisticated. If I'm honest, if compliments are your thing, you're more likely to get those from something like Creed Aventus because it is a little more modern smelling, I guess, and it's got that bad boy thing going on with its smoky birch. But for my money, it doesn't get classier than Creed Viking. Still not sure the name is quite right, but who cares? Stunning juice. Moving on to the next house, and this one was an instant love for me because of their rich, full-bodied, big performing fragrances. The first fragrance I'm talking about is one that is often described as being one of the most accessible niche fragrances. So if someone is contemplating moving from designer and spending a little more money and getting into niche, this would be a perfect starter fragrance. And I've got to agree, it smells great. From Parfums de Marly, it's Layton. Layton is a fruity floral oriental fragrance. We've got citrus, apple, woods and vanilla combining to give this a very satisfying, mass appealing profile. It's rich, it's seductive, it's sweet, it even leans a little to the gourmand in its sweetness, but it's not too sweet at all. You often hear that the ladies love this one and it gets a lot of compliments, and it does. I've had that experience. I think it's very easy to like, but it's definitely not basic. It smells rich and high quality, and it's got that full body density that is so synonymous with the brand. I think people enjoy this because it's very mass appealing, but it doesn't smell generic like maybe a lot of other fragrances that people are used to smelling. I remember I was wearing this for work and one of my colleagues told me she found this very sexy, and I could tell just by the way she said it, she definitely wasn't lying. Anyway, so you get the picture. A lot of people like this fragrance. This is a little bit of magic in a bottle, and I can see why this is probably Marley's biggest seller.
Join the Scent Geeks every Monday as we podcast about all things fragrance. You'll find us anywhere you can usually find a podcast. Links are in the description below this video. See you there, geeks.
For my number 2 Marley fragrance, let's talk tobacco. Of course, it's Herod. As incredible as Layton is, this one just bounces off my skin amazingly well. I get an opening pop that I don't quite get to the same degree with Layton, so this just seems to work really well with my skin chemistry. There's cinnamon, pepper, tobacco, there's some incense in there adding some depth, vanilla adding sweetness. The quality of materials used here just blows my mind. This fragrance excels for me in autumn and winter. It is at the same time warming and comforting, but emboldening and seductive. Some people claim performance issues. Fortunately, I don't get that. It just seems to vibe really well with my skin chemistry. Maybe I'm one of the lucky ones, I don't know. But this is just stunning juice. I will never ever tire of wearing Herod. On to my number 1, and I think many of you have probably already guessed which one this is. I do have to say, there's not much separating these 3 PDMs. I love them all, but the reason that I've chosen this as my number 1 is, for me, it takes all the elements of Layton and Herod that I enjoy so much and combines them into one stunning super frag. It's Carlisle. It has the easy to love mass appeal of Layton, it has the rich full-bodied quality of Herod, it has an amazing opening pop just like Herod does, although obviously it smells different to Herod. This doesn't have tobacco in, but if someone was to tell me there was tobacco in here, I would believe them. It also has some deep woody notes which give it plenty of backbone, and there's this enticing sweet gourmandish spiced apple pie type of smell. It has the sweet creaminess of vanilla and the comforting warmth of tonka bean. Carlisle is just a stunningly made fragrance. It has massive projection. This is beast mode, so plenty of people all around you are going to be enjoying this one. For me, it just ticks all the boxes in terms of the scent. It hits the bullseye. It's a crowd pleaser. It has stellar performance. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Carlisle is the shizzle. All right, time to talk about my number 1 niche brand. This house is known for its opulence and luxury. It's also known for creating my favorite fragrance of all time. The first fragrance I'm talking about is one of the most beautiful and most versatile fragrances that I own. From Roja Parfums, it's Elysium. We've got sparkling fruits and citrus with that signature combination in the base of benzoin and vanilla. So this is a fresh fragrance that has a lot of depth. It's one of those fragrances that could easily be a signature scent. Out of the other 2 Roja fragrances I'm mentioning, this doesn't quite have the longevity, but it's still not bad. I haven't tried the Parfum version of Elysium. I would love to. I'd be very interested to see if it projects as much as this and also if it lasts longer, but this still is pretty decent. Elysium is vibrant, clean, crisp, and very sophisticated. My number 2 from Roja Parfums is one of the most complex and bombastic fragrances I've ever smelled. I spray this and I just get this wild riot of a scent. It explodes in a cacophony of notes that just blows my mind every time I put this on. It is Diaghilev. too many notes to mention in this. It's a fruity chypre that just smells big and classical. If you want to own a room when you walk in, Diaghilev is going to do that for you, but it doesn't announce its arrival with sheer brute force like a blunt instrument. It manages to be big and bombastic but still refined and nuanced. This is exquisitely blended perfumery of unrivaled quality. If you want to get noticed, if you want to wear a fragrance that is classical and timeless, or if you just want to smell amazing, try Diaghilev. On to my number one niche fragrance, and this is probably the richest, smoothest and most glorious scent I've ever smelled. Of course, it's Enigma. I mean, what more can I say about Enigma? I've talked about it so much. I just think it's a masterpiece. I love how the smooth, velvety cognac lures you in like a siren into this amazing sea of tobacco, ginger, vanilla, benzoin. This is inspired by an enigmatic man sitting in a gentleman's club in London. He's brimming with confidence and a devil-may-care attitude. It combines charm with a little bit of bad boy. It never fails to exhilarate me. It hits the spot every time. I do try not to wear this too often because I don't want it to lose its magic. For me, Enigma is just as good as it gets, which is probably why I own 2 bottles of the Parfum cologne, a bottle of the Eau de Parfum and this Parfum. You might think it's overkill, but if you're gonna go overkill on anything, it may as well be on your favorite fragrance. So there it is, my top 3 fragrances from my top 3 niche houses. I hope you enjoyed this video. I bet it doesn't come as a surprise to many of you. I'm sorry that the list wasn't a bit less predictable, but you know, it is what it is. These are honestly, you know, my favorite fragrances. If you haven't tried any of these, then I do urge you to at least sample them if you can, because I just think there's some incredible compositions here. I'd love to know what your top threes are. I did find this tough to put together, and as I've been talking about it, fragrances have been popping into my head and I've just been thinking, what about that house? What about that brand? But you know, these are the ones I've chosen for today. These are the brands and the fragrances that consistently wow me and impress me. Okay, so that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it useful. Thank you very much for watching. It is always greatly appreciated. Remember, keep tuning into FM, keep smelling good, and I'll see you in the next video.